Hello, everybody, and this is OC-tober Day 3, and again, we're joined with a new face. His name is Liv, and he's kind of a part of the group that Cass is, but him and Cass are nearly complete opposites. Liv, as his name suggests, is very lively and outgoing. Liv has a really hard time sitting still. It's nearly impossible for him to get out all of his energy, so oftentimes he's just constantly moving in some way or another. If somebody tells him that he needs to sit down and stay still, he's kicking his legs or tapping his foot or something. Doesn't matter. You can't get this kid to sit still no matter how hard you try. Unlike the rest of the cast, Liv is oftentimes making jokes and getting others to smile. Similar to Kren, he doesn't really like taking place in any of the fights, but unlike Kren, he will, and it's not because he's scared of fighting, but because he prefers being the lighthearted one. He realizes that the group needs somebody who's capable of joking and making light out of what's going on. But he knows when to be serious and try to stay as still as possible. He also knows when not to joke around about something. Say a character tells him a secret and he'll keep it to the grave, which also shows how well he is at keeping his own secrets. If he doesn't want somebody knowing something, they won't. But turning our attention over to the challenge, Day 3's prompt was Ghost, and I really didn't know which person I was going to do for today, but I ended up settling on Liv because I really only see two interpretations of Ghost. One, them being creepy and wanting revenge for whatever reason, and the other is that they're super friendly or curious about humans, and I think that fits him much better. He's definitely the kind of ghost that would follow somebody around and kind of try to annoy them into paying attention to him and hanging out with him. I feel like if he were a ghost, he'd be a fairly modern ghost. I've also never drawn a ghost, unless you count StarClan cats, but I never really gave them ghost vibes other than putting stars in their fur, so I don't really think that counts. I kind of struggled drawing him because of this. I knew he needed to be slightly transparent, but I didn't know how I was going to depict that. There is, as you'll see, I can make certain layers transparent, but I don't know. I kind of prefer him in full color. Maybe that's just because I'm used to him being in bright colors. Also, speaking of that, I've technically never colored any of his clothing. I've always had them pictured in my mind, but I don't know. I could not decide on a color for his shirt. Like I said, I always imagine him in some sort of bright colors, but I can't really explain how he would get these clothes, because I'm more of picturing the clothing options in the surplus to be kind of dulled and like the bare minimum, so I don't really know how he has his wardrobe, especially with the background that will later be established for him. He may be going out and stealing these. I genuinely have not decided on that. But eventually I'll come up with a solution for how he has any of this wardrobe. I also kind of gave him a dog tag, or at least that's what it kind of reminds me of. Mainly that was because I couldn't think of what else to put on his necklace. I know I want him to have multiple necklaces, including the choker, but I didn't know what design I wanted. That's kind of more of a placeholder until I figure out what symbol. I might even have it be the one that represents him. Who knows? Alright everybody, and that is where this video will end. I hope you guys enjoyed, and genuinely, I love both of these new characters, and can't wait to introduce you to more. Hope to see you guys next time.